Okay, I'll explain about modal verbs. What's modal verbs? The modal verbs are auxiliaries that can use it into the sentences for give more information about it. In this slide we can have two characteristics. There is they express the speaker's attitude, and they can express that the speaker feels something is permissible, possible or probable, advisable and necessary. Okay, in this slide we see that it is divided into three groups. The first group is represented by the letter P. It contains permission, provision and possibility. The next group that it is represented by letter A is contain advisability and ability. And the last group is the represented letter E, letter N, is contain necessity. Okay, in the first context, from the first group, we can have three words: can, may, and could. Can. We use can in informal situations. For example, you can use my car tomorrow. In the interrogative form, can I use your phone? The word may is used in a formal situation. For example, may I go out for a moment, please? You may leave the house. And the word could, it is more polite. And one example for this is, could I use your pen, please? In the next slide, we have the prevision context. In this situation, we have two characteristics. That it is stronger than have to, and it is a negative form. Here, we can observe that it is used must not, or in your abbreviated form is mustn't. One example would be, you must not tell anyone my secret. Do you promise? In the next slide, there is possibility situation. In this context, we can find two words, can and may. The word can, it is used when it is probable or possible situations. In may, we use when it is polite request and give a formal permission. Okay, one example for can is, you can buy a hammer at the hardware store. Okay, in may we have polite requests and the formal questions. For example, may I borrow your pen? And the formal permission that is represented by positive sentences. One example would be, you may leave the room. The next group, we have the advisability form. Our context. Here we can find three words or modal verbs: should, ought to, and had better. Should, we can use give suggestions and friendly advice. Ought to, we use it give an advice or an opinion. And had better, we usually use when it is advisable to do something. Some examples are, to should would be, you should study harder. Another example is, you shouldn't talk so much during the class. Some examples for ought to are, drivers ought to obey the speed limit. And another example is, you ought not to talk so much. In these sentences, we can note the negative form of ought to. And some examples for had better are, the gas tank is almost empty. We had better stop at the next gas station. And I had better not meet my friends today. Continuing with the second group, we have the ability situations. Here we can find two words. The first, can. We use can in the two situations, physical and when I carry skill. One example for physical is Tom is strong, he can lift that heavy box. And one example for when someone's an acquired skill is Mary can play the violin. Another word that we can use in this situation is could, that is divided in three characteristics, or that is possibility, polite request, question the present, and impossibility, that is refer a negative form. Okay, in the possibility, one example would be I could run faster when I was a child. In the polite request, one example is could I borrow your pen? Or another example, could you help me? And the third characteristic, we can find one example we have I couldn't drive a car, and that couldn't be true. Finally, uh, in the flats group of necessity, we can find two words or two modal verbs. The first is must. We can use it in a formal situation, and have to is used in, we can use it formal or informal situations. Beginning for must is usually stronger and express urgency or stress importance. For example, you must respect your parents. And another example would be you must visit the doctor. For have to, it is a more commonly in the speakers, in the native speakers. Some examples are I have to finish this project by 5 p.m. and she has to do her homework. In the last slide, we can note the title, that is lack of necessity. We used it when used to express lack of necessity, also called absence of obligation, and the speaker usually use don't have to, don't need to, and needn't. Here, it is used in the context of lack of necessity, and it is divided in three groups, or three contexts, or three time forms: the present, past, and the future. Some examples for the first time form is the present. He doesn't have to get up early. They don't need to get up early. And he needn't get up early. For the past, we have the following sentences. I didn't need to wait. She was just on time. Here we can note these equivalations. Didn't need is equal and didn't have to. And needn't is equal to absence of obligations. That is the same lack of the necessity. One example is we didn't have wait. They didn't come. And the last situation is in the future. Some examples are I won't have to take my jacket. It won't be cold. Another example is I won't have to call on my grandfather tomorrow morning. He'll be at the doctor's for this regular medical checkup. And this is all about modal verbs. Thank you.